So you're thinking about learning Chinese, but you're kind of overwhelmed about where to even start, right? Don't worry, you are definitely not alone. In this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that noise and give you a super clear, actionable roadmap. The goal? To get you reading, understanding, and actually speaking Chinese, and fast.
Okay, let's just tackle the elephant in the room. The first thing everybody thinks is that Chinese is just impossibly hard for English speakers. I mean, it's got this reputation for being one of the toughest languages out there, and that idea alone, it stops so many people before they even try. But what if I told you that's not the real problem?
This quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. The real reason people quit isn't because the language is some unconquerable mountain. Nope. It's because most learners are just thrown into this ocean of conflicting advice with no map, no compass, and that's where they lose steam and just give up. And this leads to something called decision fatigue. Think about it. You Google how to learn Chinese and you're just bombarded with 1,000 different answers. Use this app. No, that app is way better. Just immerse yourself. You got to get a tutor. Learn characters first. No, learn to speak first. It's absolutely exhausting. And that constant doubt, that is the real killer of progress.
So, if the problem is a total lack of direction, then the solution has to be a solid system, a predictable path to success that's built on what we're going to call the 3 pillars of fluency. If you get these right, fluency isn't just some far-off possibility, it actually becomes a predictable outcome.
So here they are. First up, structure. This means you learn the most common, high-frequency words first so you're not wasting your time. Second, methodology. You got to use memory techniques that work with your brain, not against it, making learning fast and, well, fun. And third, consistency. You just have to show up every single day. Look, if you miss even one of these pillars, you're probably going to fail. But if you nail all 3, you're on the fast track to fluency for sure. Okay, so with those pillars in mind, let's get super practical. Here's a step-by-step plan for your first 30 days. And this first month is absolutely crucial. This is all about building a foundation you can really count on.
Now, before you even touch a single word, I want you to spend your first couple of hours on pronunciation. You need to get familiar with pinyin, that's just the system for writing Chinese sounds with our alphabet, and the 4 main tones. You don't have to be perfect at it, not at all, just get the basics down. Your pronunciation will naturally get better as you go.
All right, so where should you be spending your time? This part is huge. As you can see, a massive 70%, 70, should be all about building your vocabulary. Why? Because words are the building blocks of communication. I mean, you could have perfect grammar and amazing pronunciation, but if you don't know any words, you literally have nothing to say.
And if you're wondering why learning the written characters is so essential, well, this slide says it all. Trying to rely only on the sounds is a complete nightmare. Just take the sound she. Without seeing the character, it could mean to be, city, to try, or, get this, over 50 other things. The characters give you the context that the sound just can't.
But don't panic. This doesn't mean you have to go back to the old school way of writing characters hundreds of times. There are modern techniques, like the Hanzi Movie Method, that use memory palaces to help you lock in a character's meaning, its sound, its tone, and even how to write it. And you can do it incredibly fast. We're talking under 30 seconds for a new character.
Now, just as important as what to do is knowing what not to do. In that first month, please stay away from grammar books. You'll pick up grammar naturally just by learning sentences. Also, don't try to watch Chinese TV shows. They're way too advanced right now. And maybe hold off on hiring a tutor. You want to build a base of words first so you can actually use that time with the tutor effectively.
Sooner or later, a lot of language learners hit this wall. It's frustrating. You can read, you can understand when people talk, but when you try to speak, nothing comes out. Your mind just goes blank. This is the gap between passive knowledge and active skill. So let's talk about how to activate everything you've learned.
What most people don't realize is that understanding and speaking use totally different systems in your brain. Input, listening and reading, that trains your recognition muscle. But output, actually speaking, that trains your production muscle. You have to actively practice producing the language to get good at it. They're 2 different skills.
So how do you train that production muscle? Well, through what we call activation techniques. Retrieval practice is a big one. Think flashcards, where you see the English and have to produce the Chinese. You can also practice with AI chatbots or even just talk to yourself. I mean, literally narrate your day in Chinese. The key is to practice producing the words, even by yourself, to build up that confidence.
what are we really aiming for here? What does being fluent even mean? It's really important to define an achievable destination, you know? That way the end goal doesn't feel so impossibly far away.
Let's make a clear distinction between fluency and proficiency. Your first goal, your main goal, should be fluency. That just means being able to speak comfortably and naturally about everyday things. That's about a B2 level, and you can get there with around 2,000 to 3,000 active words. Proficiency, that's the near-native, long-term dream. Focus on fluency first. It's totally achievable.
And here it is, your first major milestone, 1,000 words. This number is a real game changer. Why? Because with the 1,000 most common words, you can understand something like 80% of daily spoken Chinese. Hitting this goal is a massive confidence boost, and it's when the language really starts to click.
So there you have it. The problem was never that Chinese is too hard, it's that you just needed a plan, and now you have the roadmap. Focus on the 3 pillars, build that solid vocabulary foundation, and actively practice what you learn. Really, the only question left is, are you ready to take that first step?